Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about this new batch of Quinnipiac University state polls in the Rust Belt battleground states. That's Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, of course, the blue wall. So what does this poll show? Well, this poll is entirely after the debate, and we'll get to in a second how Harris is surging after the debate. You can even see it just in the past few days. She went from being up by 0.5 in the state of Pennsylvania to being up 1.7 after the debate, which is now, a comfortable lead, the biggest since about 20 or so days ago, or even more. But this poll, Quinnipiac, shows Kamala Harris after the debate absolutely skyrocketing. I mean, you will not believe these results. Pennsylvania, Harris up by 6. By 6% in Pennsylvania. She's up by 5 in Michigan, and she's up by 1 in Wisconsin. So, absolutely shocking results from this Quinnipiac poll. I mean, Pennsylvania being a likely margin victory, that meaning a 5% victory, or more for Kamala Harris, is just not something that we were expecting to see in this election cycle at all. From reputable pollsters like Quinnipiac, they're actually B+, not B like this pollster says. They did get this wrong, that's a mistake. But, from a very reputable pollster like Quinnipiac, it's very unusual in this day and age of partisan politics to see, such a critical swing state like Pennsylvania breaking so heavily for, either candidate, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. In this case, it's for her. So to see Pennsylvania go from a 1.2% margin for Joe Biden in 2020, he won the state, but it was only by 1.2%. It was incredibly close. And go to 6%. That is extremely unusual, and it is a great sign for the Kamala Harris campaign. Even if she isn't winning it by 6, she's absolutely winning it by more than 1.2 if this poll has any sort of accuracy. So let's map out this win real quick, because they only polled 3 of the 7 core battleground states. Even, let's give Texas and Florida to Donald Trump, because it doesn't matter. With just these 3 states, Kamala Harris to Walz win the election. You need 270 to win. At a minimum, they win 270. That just goes to show how important these Rust Belt states are. If she is able to carry the Rust Belt states, they voted together, meaning all 3 have voted for the same candidate, I believe, in every election since 2004. So if Kamala Harris can once again complete this trifecta, win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, that's all she needs. She wins the election just like that. She doesn't even need these other battleground states. Some of them she is leading in the polls actually right now. It's 270 to 268 you see there. So absolutely insane results from this poll. Now, I was kind enough to make a spreadsheet, a very interesting spreadsheet, because it matters more than just what these battleground states show, than how these blue wall Rust Belt states go. I mean, it's important because that she can win the election with just these states. But what does it prove? If this poll does come out accurate, what does this prove for the rest of the nation? How the rest of the nation will vote? Now, before we get into this, because we're going to be talking about shifts, meaning, trends from 2020 to 2024, remember that Biden won the election in 2020. So this poll, as we're going to lay out here, is showing that the nation will trend. These 3 states are trending towards the Democratic Party. So the fact that Biden already won in 2020 and the nation is only going to become more Democratic, it just highlights how much Kamala Harris is on track to win this election by. So in the state of Pennsylvania, you see, or in these 3 states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, I included the 2020 results in the first row under the state name, as well as what this Quinnipiac poll shows about the rest of what the poll shows in 2024, what the result will be. So, for example, in Pennsylvania, Biden won the state by 1.2%. This Quinnipiac is projecting it to go to Kamala Harris by 6%. Did the same thing in Michigan. Biden won it by 2.8, going to Harris by 5 in the poll. In Wisconsin, Biden won it by 0.6, projected to go to Harris by 1 point. So, I did the shifts, of course. So, the shift from 2020 to 2024 projected in Pennsylvania is a total of 4.8%. It's expected to become 4.8% more Democratic in 2024. That is just absolutely insane, and I actually do think that it is possible. Maybe I'll get to that later in this video. But 4.8%, is insane in this time of partisan politics, but I do think it really could happen. In Michigan, the state shifts 2.2% towards the left. Wisconsin shifts 0.4% to the left. When you average these out now, that's an average shift in these three states of 2.47%. 2.47%. So let's apply that to the nation, to each individual swing state, an average shift of 2.47%. Now, will every state shift by the same amount? No, absolutely not. That's shown in this poll. There's wide ranges of how much a state will shift. Some are generally just becoming more Democratic, some are becoming more Republican. But when you add in this average shift of 2.47% in every swing state from 2020, let's see what that looks like. We'll even discount the blue wall states as well. We'll fill them in with this new average that we have, and we'll include Texas and Florida as well. So, in of course, Wisconsin, that becomes a lean margin. Again, Biden won it by 0.6. Harris is gaining, let's call it 2.5. It's 2.47, but 2.5 for simplistic purposes. Let's add in 2.5%. She's at 3.5 in Wisconsin. That's an insanely healthy margin for a Democrat in Wisconsin. Michigan was 2.8, D plus 2.8 in 2020. Add in 2.5. Michigan is a likely state. Pennsylvania, Biden won it by 1.2. Add in that 2.5. That's a 3.7% victory for Harris in Pennsylvania. Another very healthy win. You've got Nevada. Nevada voted for Biden by 2.4. Add in that 2.5. It's a 4.9 margin right below that a likely margin characterization, but still a victory. Almost 5%. She already has won the election. Arizona went to Biden in 2020 by 0.3%. Add in that 2.5. He's at a lean margin. Same with Georgia. Georgia's lean and went to Biden by 0.2. Then you've got an important one, North Carolina. North Carolina, as you see here, these are the 2020 results. North Carolina voted for Donald Trump by 1.3%. If Harris is gaining 2.5, then she's winning the state. Not even by a tilt margin, it's a lean margin. It's right above 1%. So she flips the state of North Carolina. Again, that was Republican. That went to Trump in 2020. And then in Florida, that went to Trump by 3.4. Minus 2.5 would be 0.9%. So Florida becomes excruciatingly close. Donald Trump really has to defend that one. And then Texas is reduced to a lean margin. So it's not even that close of an election. I mean, it's not close of an election at all. It's 319 for Harris and Walz, 219 for Trump and Vance. Again, it's not very close. So this just goes to show how Kamala Harris, it's a new race after the debate. Kamala Harris was ahead, but it was very narrow. Donald Trump was making steady gains nationwide across the battleground states. But since then, Kamala Harris has surged. It took a couple days for the surge to, be apparent in polls, and it's still happening too. Kamala Harris still has room to gain here. She has taken the lead in Pennsylvania, as I said before, by 1.7%. When was the debate? September 10th, I think. Wow. It was 8 days ago? Yes, it was, because it was on Tuesday of last week. But on September 9th, she was ahead. On September 9th, she was ahead by 0.7%. The day of the debate, she was ahead by 0.5%. So in just 8 days, because of the debate, she has been able to skyrocket from 0.5% to 1.7%. And I'll tell you, being ahead by 1.7 is a lot more comfortable than being ahead by 0.5, because the slightest of errors in just a couple of polls could, create a false notion that Harris is ahead in Pennsylvania. But the last time, I do want to get the exact date here, the last time Harris was ahead by this much was on August 29th, 20 days ago. So the Harris campaign is happy about this debate, but, she still has room to expand. That's another major point. We also see it a little bit in Michigan, but you won't see it as much in the other polls because there are less polls, because Pennsylvania is the most important battleground state. But Harris went from 1.5 right at the debate, 1.5, to now 2.5. So she has gained a whole point in Michigan. That's pretty good. Let's check up on Wisconsin here. Wisconsin, she is ahead. Yeah, not apparent. She's ahead by 2.8. There haven't been a lot of Wisconsin polls lately. Whatever, 2.7 to 2.8, a very slight gain, but still there. So wow, what an incredible poll this is for Kamala Harris. One of the best she has received post-debate, and it just does fulfill this notion that Kamala Harris did have a strong debate performance and that it actually is helping her in the presidential election. These are the numbers that she wants to continue to see. When Joe Biden was leading in the state of Pennsylvania by a total of 2020 here, by 4.7% on average on election day. The poll said on average on election day in 2020 that Joe Biden would win by 4.7%. He only won by 1.2%, so he was overestimated some 3.5% in Pennsylvania, which isn't a lot compared to other states. It's really not. Polls, we expect to be 3.5% off in many cases, but they still did overestimate Biden, and they overestimated Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. So polls have had a habit of underestimating Donald Trump. Now, my big hot take of the 2024 race, and I've talked about this many, many times in videos, I have my reasons. You can go watch those videos. But I don't think that Trump will be as overestimated, or even overestimated at all in the polling. I think it's more likely that Kamala Harris is underestimated in the polling. I know that's a very hot take, but bear with me here. I won't go into it right now. I would, if I was Kamala Harris, I would be happy, leading by 1.7% if I think I'm going to outperform the polls. However, I could very well be wrong. My prediction could very well be wrong, and Donald Trump could once again outpace the polls. Well, if you're leading by by 6%, 6 whole percent in a state like Pennsylvania, which is more than what Biden was expected to win by on average in 2020, and he still won the state, then you've got a lot of slack, you've got a lot of room, to be off in the polls, and you still win the state quite comfortably. Point being, she wants to see more polls like this. These are the polls that she wants to see, where she's ahead by more, in some of these battleground states, by more than what Biden was up by in 2020. So that is, this is the right direction if you're Kamala Harris. This is exactly what you want to see if you're Kamala Harris. Just a stunning batch of polls from Quinnipiac across the blue wall battleground states. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe down below. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before Election Day. I know it's ambitious, but let's try to get there. Again, thank you very much, and I will see you all later.